I was unemployed at the time, and I was trying to, I'd worked at the college for a little bit, helping Mr. Cater with the development stuff, and done a couple other things, and I'm like, what am I going to do? I heard that Maryland National was going to sell some branches on the shore, like January 2nd of '86. I heard this, and I thought to myself, I want to stay here. I know something about banking. I'll just start a bank. And frankly, the biggest component in being successful was that I was naive. I had no clue how to start a bank. I didn't know what the obstacles were. If I had seen all the obstacles up front, I might have said, whew, I don't know about that. But instead, they sort of came at me one at a time, and it took a year to get it done. And it was the most exciting year of my life. Go to bed some nights, sure that it was not going to work out. Get up the next morning and say, well, all right, what do we have to do to make it work out? I spent the first couple of months sitting in people's living rooms and kitchen tables and sort of telling this story of why I thought this thing was going to work and would they maybe invest. And at that point in my life, I had never made more than $25,000 a year, and it blew me away that someone could pull out a checkbook and write a check for $100,000. But I think 18 different people did. And when you talk about angels, being able to find local, successful businessmen who were committed to this community, guys like Dave Bramble, guys, there were a bunch of them. Gene Anthony was part of the original group. Phil Whiting from up in Galena, Sandy Hoon. So we had to raise $4 million, or we had to raise $3.5, and we were oversubscribed. We raised $4. We had to found a bank. We had to do a merger agreement to buy the branches from Maryland National. We had to get the state to approve. We had to get the FDIC to approve. So it was a great education. So we wanted to do sort of traditional commercial banking, meaning home mortgages, small businesses, education loans. It was a broad spectrum. But I thought that our niche was, frankly, I said it then, I'll probably get criticized, we wanted to out mercantile, meaning we wanted to, deal with business people who really expected the best. Yeah. And it's not enough to have people in the lobby who smile and be nice. You got to be competent. You got to know we had to bring something to the table that contributed to our clients' success. That's the way I looked at it. We got to be smart enough and good enough and responsive enough that our clients are going to achieve their objectives because they got us as their partner. There were times when I was like, what have I done? And this is not going to work, and what if it fails? But yes, as we moved along, because there were 6 other banks that were bidding for Chesapeake, and we weren't a bank yet. We were just a group of individuals. And my sales pitch to Maryland National was, you want to help a competitor, or do you want to create a correspondent bank that you'll have a relationship? And they said, well, okay, that makes some sense. Uh-huh. So, when we signed the deal with Maryland National, that was big, because there were a couple times where they said, well, we're sorry, we're going to go somewhere else. You have to go away. And so I go home and sort of pout for a week, and then the phone rings. And they say, well, now, what do you think the biggest obstacle to this transaction is? I thought we were done. And I said, well, it was not a great time to start a bank. The savings and loan crisis had been in Maryland in the earlier 80s. Yeah, a recession. But we had good people here. Mike Macielag, this bank would, he was our credit guru. And we didn't make too many mistakes. Oh yeah. We had always been conservative. In fact, if you have time for a little story, in those years, there were borrowers that would come in here and tell us, Mike Macielag and I, tell us about these, deals that they could get elsewhere, with no documentation or low documentation or, 0% down, and then we'll give you a home equity loan too. And Mike and I really thought we must be obsolete, that these bankers were smarter than us because they had figured out, the rules that we thought applied to extending credit. Obviously, somebody else had figured out how to, improve on them. And I mean, we really thought we were the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, we figured out maybe we weren't so dumb as we thought.
Yeah.
Because we had always been conservative. So when things went south, I would say we suffered less than anybody around here. And I told the original investors, if you're thinking that you're going to buy some stock and 5 years from now we're going to flip this thing, do not invest. So that's never been the strategy. That's never been the strategy. The strategy has been serve this market.
Yeah.
Growth, yes, but growth by doing a better job. There are several banks in Kent County. Yeah. Growth in earnings by just doing a better job and taking care of your clients. I don't have some big overarching goal. I just want to see us be the best that we can be and serve the people who live here and work here, serve the entrepreneurs, encourage that entrepreneurial world. I've had a blast working with one-on-one with, guys and gals that have a dream, and okay, how can we help? And I hope that we've helped more than by just, being the place where they bring their money or they borrow their money. I hope we help by, we've learned a few things along the way and can make contributions to business.